So this will without a doubt be the most controversial video I've done yet. It's so controversial, in fact, that many people have asked me not to do the video. But I want to be fully transparent with you all about the technology that is out there so you understand what's going on. Basically, what's happening is that in the last year, artificial intelligence, also known as AI, has become so advanced that students are able to use it to write their essays and research papers. And what that means is that in the old days of writing, when I would write papers by hand or type them out, I would write at roughly 5 to 10 words per minute. But now with these artificial intelligence tools, students are able to write at well over 350 words per minute. So to give you some perspective, that means that a 500-word essay would be done in 2 to 3 minutes. So I want to break this video down into 3 steps. I'm going to start with a demo and show you literally how I can write a 500-word essay in 2 to 3 minutes using one of these artificial intelligence writing tools. Specifically, I'm going to use Jasper.ai. And if you want to follow along with me, there is a link for 10,000 free AI words, so roughly 20 essays, in the comments and the captions below. So I'm going to just show you how it works first. Then for the students, I want to break down the pros and cons of using this because there are pros and cons, right? So after that, after we break down the pros and cons for the students, then finally for the teachers out there, I want to give you a rundown on how you can incorporate AI into your classroom and also ensure that students aren't cheating themselves out of opportunities to learn by using these AI technologies. Let's jump into it. So here we've got the Jasper.ai app, and I'm going to start by writing an essay here on global climate change. Now, I'd highly recommend you all try following along. Like I said, I have a link in the bottom there. You'll see the link that if you sign up with that link, you'll get 10,000 free words. So roughly you could write 20 full-length essays using Jasper.ai or Jasper.ai. You could follow along and do this essay exactly, or you could, do whatever essay you want and try it out. But let's get started here. So like I said, I want to write an essay on global climate change. I was just working with a student about a year ago on an AP environmental essay on this topic. So I thought it would be fun if we see what Jasper AI can do. So basically, I want to start by giving it a title, Global Climate Change Major Consequences. I want to tell Jasper what the essay is going to be about, an essay about 3 consequences of global climate change. I say that I want it to sound pretty scientific, and then we can get going. I can either hit compose and Jasper will just write for me based on what it thinks I need, or I can give it prompts. So I'm going to say, write about the beginning of global warming. And I can't spell very well, so we'll just see how to spell that. Let's fix that. Okay. And now I've got that command. It's almost kind of like I'm coding. I put in this command and I hit Command Enter, and it will run that command for me. So this is pretty good here. Let's see. What do we got? The beginning of global warming can be traced back to the 1800s. Okay, that sounds like roughly what I want. And now it's going to, down here, it wrote a bit of a thesis for me, but I actually want to, use my own. I wrote one earlier and I wanted to use my own thesis, so I'm going to drop that in here. So I said, if left unchecked, the consequences of global climate change could be countless. However, 3 particularly salient problems. I put the 3 in, and I have destruction of coastal property, increased cost of food, and decreased water quality. I just want to put those 3 in because in our 3 body paragraphs, I want Jasper to have to write about what I want it to write about. So we got our first paragraph, and let's keep on moving. Now, if I want it to just start writing for me, I just do Command J, or I can hit this compose button down here. Okay, let's see. It looks like it. Okay, it's writing for me. That's pretty cool. So let's put a little more space in here than we maybe want. So as global temperatures rise, melting polar ice caps, da 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 da. Okay, I'm not going to read it too thoroughly for now. I just want to show you. It wrote a paragraph. Second major consequence. Okay, food production. That's like roughly what I wanted. And let's let it keep writing here. Again, we're hitting Command J anytime we want Jasper to write for us. Okay, third. Okay, let's see. Third significant consequence, decreased water quality. Okay, that was in fact the third thing we wanted. And it looks like it's saying if left unchecked, global climate change. So it's writing a bit of a conclusion paragraph for us. So let's let it keep on writing here. See what we can get before it's too late. And let's see if it wants to write anything else. We're not going to deal with that right now. Okay, so we've got about 350 words right now. We do have it's a 5-paragraph essay. It's a little short, but we did it in about a minute and a half, I believe. Now let's say I wanted to say the third consequence here, health problems. I'm just working really fast, and I might say, write more about mercury. I could put that command in and I could run the command. And as mentioned earlier, increased temperatures. So it's mercury and arsenic. It's mentioning more of that. Wow, okay, it's doing some of this. This is a little weird. We don't necessarily want that in our essay. So I might downvote this. If you don't like the output that Jasper gives you, you can downvote it. And I can say, I don't like that completion. Let's try it again. I can say, write more about mercury. We'll try that again. And I'm going to say I want the output length to be medium instead of long. And let's run it and see if it'll give me a nice medium output. Try that again. There we go. Woo! Okay. Mercury is a dangerous pollutant. Okay, cool. So it's telling me a bit more about mercury. Maybe I want to put that in there. I'm at 410 words. Okay, that's fine. It messed up my spacing here. We got that. Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know what this is going to do, but let's just say we wanted to say, write more about crop failure. Maybe I want to know a little more about that. I can write more about crop failure. Okay, so we put a little more about crop failure in there. That's pretty good. We like that. Let's see what we're doing here. Lack of access to clean water. Let's say I want to write more about coastal real estate. Real estate should be real estate with statistics. Real estate. Got to fix that up, and let's do that. Let's see what it'll do for us here. Ooh, okay. Okay, so it gave us a little more. Let's keep on seeing if it. Very cool. Okay, and it's giving us a little more here than we want. So let's just get rid of this here. But notice how by putting in the command to give me some statistics, it did include some statistics. So now we have a 600-word essay, probably did it in about 3 minutes or so. That's a bit of an overview on how Jasper works. It's pretty easy. Jasper.ai is a pretty easy tool to use. You can see here, I've got my plagiarism checker on. Where is it? Here it is. My plagiarism checker's on, so I can be sure that none of this is popping up anywhere else on the internet. It's all original writing created by the AI. So now it's time to talk about some of the pros and cons for students of using this technology. And the first major con that I want to say is that it cannot put in proper citations. So when we typically write research papers, we need to have real good citations, right? Footnotes or endnotes in MLA format. And it's more than just putting the citations in. It matters that we go in and research and learn from primary sources and add information from those sources into our papers. And unfortunately, Jasper can't do that. And it makes sense, right? Artificial intelligence can write cool, good sentences, but it can't really do research and creative independent thinking. So that creative independent thinking is where you come in. I would recommend using this technology as a way of getting rid of writer's block, right? I can just jump in here and say, okay, give me a bit of an introduction. 1800s, factories and automobiles began to emit a large amount of greenhouse gas. And I would say, okay, well, that's interesting, but I need to go and do some more research. So I might go to Google Scholar, or I might go to my library, and I would go find some sources about greenhouse gases in the 1800s. I would go read about them, and then I would include those sources in here. That would allow me to integrate research that I had done on my own back into this work. Another tip I'd have for students, and something that I really like about this, is that Jasper.ai, like people, occasionally makes grammar mistakes. And I like using Jasper.ai as a tool to practice my own editing. Editing is incredibly important, just as important, if not more important, than writing itself. So use this tool as an opportunity to go through and practice your editing. So going through, right, and checking about sentences and how you like them. So pregnant women and young children are particularly at risk for mercury poisoning, which can lead to developmental delays and death. So right now it's left us without a period here. So I know for sure that, we need a period at the end of that sentence. And again, it's not the most complicated, but I am working on my editing skills like that. Now I want to jump in and give my thoughts to teachers about this technology. The obvious elephant in the room when you see this is, wow, this is going to be a really easy way for students to cheat on their essays. Not necessarily by cheating in a plagiarism sense, because they're not stealing other people's work. However, it does allow you to write essays really, really fast. And here's the thing that I would again recommend. I recommended this in the student section, but I'd recommend it in the teacher section, is to be really explicit in making sure your students' essays have citations. Jasper.ai is not going to be able to add citations. Moreover, the process of going through and finding citations in research, that creative research process, is something that no AI tool is going to be able to use. No AI tool is going to be able to do. It's going to be able to create sentences, but it's not going to be able to put them in a unique and creative structure integrating research. Not yet, anyway. The other thing that I would do is to be very explicit about my school's policy on artificial intelligence writing tools. If you don't want students using those on their assignments, I would very explicitly say that, and then tell students, as I showed in the student section, these AIs will sometimes write some wild, incorrect things, like that Plymouth Rock architecture example I gave in the student section. And you can tell students, hey, if you're using this tool and it starts putting in some really wild, untrue facts, I'm going to see that and I'm going to grade that essentially as though you were copy pasting false information from the web, and it's going to really hurt your grade. So basically, by being very explicit with students and saying this technology does exist, here are the pros and cons, and here's how I will grade you, you put a situation where you can have open conversations with your students saying, hey, you can use it here for brainstorming, you can use it to undo your writer's block, but you need to be very aware that any writing you submit needs to be writing that you are formally comfortable submitting. If there are facts in that writing that you don't feel like you're 100% sure that you would argue, then that's not something that you can submit. And if you do, there could be serious consequences to your grades and your honor code, etc. So if you liked this video, please do subscribe. I'm going to launch one very soon that talks all about the ethics of AI and plagiarism and where we draw the line there. And so I hope you do subscribe, because as soon as that video comes out, you'll be able to see it.